Now, I want to speak directly to those of you who identify as woke, but are still open to rational discussion. I know you are a rare breed because one of the key principles of wokeness is that feelings take precedence over facts. But I believe in you. I believe there are some among you who are willing to engage with reasoned arguments. So let me make one. We are constantly told that your generation cares more than any other about climate change. Many of you even suffer from climate anxiety. You desperately want to save the planet. And for tonight, just for tonight, I will stand with you. I will bow at the altar of Saint Greta, our patron of climate consciousness. Let us all solemnly accept that we are in the midst of a climate emergency and that polar bears are on the brink of extinction. I'm with you. But now, let's address the real question. What can we actually do about it? The hard truth is this. The UK is responsible for just 2% of global carbon emissions. Even if Britain were to disappear into the ocean tomorrow, it would make virtually no difference to the trajectory of climate change. The future of the planet will not be decided in London, or New York, or Paris. It will be decided in Asia and Latin America by billions of people who do not have the luxury of prioritizing climate activism over survival. Because, quite frankly, they are too poor to care about saving the planet. Their priority is feeding their families, not reducing their carbon footprint. I grew up in Russia, a country that is not impoverished but still has serious challenges. 20% of Russian households do not have indoor plumbing. They rely on wooden shacks with holes in the ground, primitive latrines storing the memory of thousands of past visits. How many of you would willingly trade your bathrooms for that? None, of course. So why should they? In China, 120 million people do not have enough food, not enough for dessert, but actual malnutrition, where immune systems fail due to starvation. You will not convince these people to stay poor in order to meet climate targets set by wealthier nations. Consider China's leader, Xi Jinping. When he was 10, his father was imprisoned, his family was torn apart, and he was sent to a remote village to live in a cave. Decades later, he rose to power at the helm of the very party that destroyed his childhood. And his number one priority? Economic prosperity, because that is what the people demand. Do you think tackling climate change is at the top of his agenda? In India, a third of the world's children living in extreme poverty are struggling to survive. Parents there, just like any of us, would do whatever it takes to give their children a better future, even if it means burning more coal. And that brings me to my final point. The only realistic way to combat climate change is through scientific and technological breakthroughs that make clean energy both sustainable and affordable. You cannot solve this problem by gluing yourself to the pavement or throwing soup at paintings. The real solution lies in innovation, in building, in creating. Yet wokeness has taught too many young minds that their role is to protest, to complain, to claim victimhood instead of taking action. But the truth is, if you want to change the world, you need to do more than demand it, you need to build it. Thank you. Once upon a time, an old pencil maker carefully picked up his newest creation just before placing it in a box. As he held the pencil, he imagined it as a living being, full of potential. Before sending it out into the world, he decided to share 5 important lessons, words of wisdom that would shape its journey. There are 5 things you need to remember, he said. Never forget them, and you will become the best pencil you can be. First, you have the ability to do incredible things, but only if you allow yourself to be guided by someone else's hand. Trust the process, and you will create something meaningful. Second, he continued, from time to time, you will experience a painful sharpening. It may be uncomfortable, but remember, this will only make you a better pencil. Growth often comes through challenges, and each one will refine you into something stronger and more precise. Third, always remember that you have the power to correct mistakes. No matter where you go or what you do, there is always room for improvement. Never be afraid to erase and rewrite, for learning from your missteps is what truly makes you great. Fourth, the most important part of you is what's on the inside. Your true value doesn't come from your outer appearance but from the core of who you are. Stay true to yourself, and let your inner essence shine through in everything you do. And finally, wherever you go and whatever surface you touch, leave your mark. No matter the circumstances, continue to write, create, and inspire. Your purpose is to make an impact, and every stroke you leave behind tells a story. The pencil listened carefully and promised to remember these lessons, determined to live with heart and purpose. Just like the pencil, in life, we should trust others to guide us, embrace challenges for growth, learn from mistakes, cherish our inner qualities, and leave a positive mark on the world. Follow these lessons, and you too can become the best version of yourself. This was the tale of the pencil, a small but powerful lesson for us all. Thank you for watching and stay blessed. This is the story of a boy from Henryville, Indiana, born in 1890. Life hit him hard from an early age. When he was just 6, his father passed away, forcing his mother to work at a tomato cannery to support the family. Left to care for his siblings, he quickly learned how to cook. By the age of 10, he was already working as a farmhand. Struggling through life, he dropped out of school in the 6th grade and left home, taking up various jobs, including painting horse carriages. At 16, he lied about his age to enlist in the U.S. Army. After a year of service, he was honorably discharged and worked as a railway laborer while studying law. But fate had other plans. His legal career ended abruptly after a courtroom brawl, leaving him jobless once again. Determined to find success, he took a job selling life insurance but was fired for not following orders. Still undeterred, he started a ferryboat company, which turned out to be a success. Encouraged, he tried his hand at a lamp manufacturing business, only to be crushed by competition from electric lamp companies. Yet he refused to give up. He worked as a tire salesman until the company shut down, then ran a service station, only to lose it during the Great Depression. The fresh start in mind, he took over a Shell oil service station in Kentucky, where he began cooking and serving meals to travelers. His pan-fried chicken became a local favorite, and soon he expanded into a full-fledged restaurant. But trouble struck again. His business suffered from a violent altercation with a competitor, and later, a fire destroyed his restaurant and motel. Not one to surrender, he rebuilt and ran a new restaurant, but World War II forced him to shut it down once more. In the 1950s, he was in his 60s, struggling to make ends meet. He tried selling his chicken recipe to other restaurants, but it was rejected 1,009 times. Then, in 1952, he finally convinced a restaurant owner to use his secret blend of herbs and spices, marking the birth of Kentucky Fried Chicken. Soon, other restaurant owners bought into his idea, paying him a few cents per chicken. However, even after initial success, his own restaurant declined when a new highway diverted traffic away. At 65, with only his savings and a small Social Security check, he set out to franchise his concept across the country. Traveling with nothing but his car, he cooked for restaurant owners, offering them a deal only if they loved his chicken. His persistence paid off. By 1965, at 75 years old, Colonel Sanders had built KFC into a global brand. The company expanded into Canada, the UK, Mexico, and beyond. Even after selling the business, he remained its face, traveling over 400,000 kilometers a year to promote the brand. When he passed away at the age of 90, KFC had grown to 6,000 locations in 48 countries. By 2018, that number had soared to over 22,000 worldwide. His story is a testament to resilience. Rejected, fired, bankrupt, and forced to start over again and again, Colonel Sanders didn't find success until after retirement age. If you're feeling discouraged by failure, remember, persistence, hard work, and belief in your dream can turn even the toughest setbacks into a legendary success story. Stay inspired and never give up. Once upon a time, two Buddhist monks were traveling together. One was a senior monk, and the other was a junior monk. As they walked along their journey, they reached the banks of a powerful, raging river. Standing there was a young woman, visibly distressed, unsure of how she would cross without being swept away by the current. Without hesitation, the junior monk walked past her, never giving her a second glance. He simply crossed the river on his own. The senior monk, however, stopped, gently lifted the woman, carried her across, and set her down safely on the other side. Without another word, he continued on his way, leaving the woman behind as their journey resumed. As they traveled further, The senior monk noticed that the junior monk seemed troubled, his thoughts preoccupied. After some time, the senior monk turned to him and asked, "What's on your mind?" The junior monk frowned and finally blurted out, "How could you carry that woman? You know we are not supposed to touch women. It is against our way of life." The senior monk smiled and calmly replied, "I left the woman by the riverbank a long time ago. Why are you still carrying her?" His words were simple, yet they carried deep wisdom. While he had physically carried the woman, he had also let go of the action as soon as it was done. The junior monk, however, had not touched the woman at all, but he was still holding on to the moment in his mind, burdened by it. The senior monk smiled and calmly replied, "I left the woman by the riverbank a long time ago. Why are you still carrying her?" His words were simple, yet they carried deep wisdom. While he had physically carried the woman, he had also let go of the action as soon as it was done. The junior monk, however, had not touched the woman at all, but he was still holding on to the moment in his mind, burdened by it. Every time we relive a painful memory, we bring the same suffering back into our lives. But the truth is, the past only holds power over us if we allow it to. The key to peace and happiness is simple: let it go. Free yourself from the weight of yesterday so you can focus on building a brighter, more fulfilling future. So take a deep breath, release what no longer serves you, and embrace the possibilities ahead. The past is behind you, your future is waiting. Stay blessed and keep moving forward. One day, while Buddha was in an assembly, a man stormed in, filled with anger. He was a restless businessman, frustrated by the fact that Buddha was drawing such large crowds. His own children had begun spending time with Buddha instead of focusing on business and making money. To him, sitting in meditation for hours was a complete waste of time. Determined to teach Buddha a lesson, he approached him with fury in his heart. As the man reached Buddha, his mind went blank, but his anger remained. Overwhelmed by emotion, he could not find the right words to express himself. Instead, he acted impulsively. He spat directly in Buddha's face. The disciples sitting around were stunned, their rage evident, ready to react. Yet, under Buddha's calm presence, they restrained themselves. Buddha, unshaken, simply smiled in response. The man stood there, waiting for an outburst, for retaliation, but nothing happened. Realizing he had caused no reaction, he felt uneasy and quickly walked away. That night, the businessman could not find peace. The image of Buddha's serene smile haunted him. Never in his life had he encountered someone who responded with such grace to an act of utter disrespect. His thoughts churned, his body trembled. He felt as though his entire world had collapsed. By morning, his mind had transformed. With a heavy heart, he returned to Buddha, fell at his feet, and pleaded, "Please forgive me. I did not know what I was doing." To everyone's surprise, Buddha replied, "I cannot excuse you." The disciples were shocked. Buddha, known for his infinite compassion, had always welcomed everyone, regardless of their past actions. And now, here he was, refusing forgiveness. The businessman, puzzled, asked, "Why? I am the same person who spat on you yesterday." Buddha gently smiled and explained, "The person who acted out of anger yesterday is not here anymore. You are no longer that man. If I ever meet the one who spat on me, I will tell him he is forgiven. But you, in this moment, are a different person, and there is nothing to forgive." True forgiveness, Buddha taught, is not about making someone feel guilty. If you constantly remind a person of their mistakes, then you haven't truly forgiven them. The greatest forgiveness is when the other person doesn't even realize they have been forgiven, when their own guilt becomes their lesson, and they transform because of it. And with that, the businessman understood a profound truth that changed him forever.